Lauren Schaller here, explaining the engineering design process of my runoff comparison. We started off the engineering design process with our ask, which we were given, what is the best land cover for a healthy watershed? I added a secondary, how do you engineer to best show those results? And then I wrote what that success would look like based on what we were given. Then, as part of our research, we looked at the Stroudwater Research and Millersville University surface runoff simulation, found that grassland and wetlands have some of the best results for accomplishing that goal. Then I brainstormed some solutions. I took a look at what we were given, the soda bottle option, but I wanted some alternative choices because of my constraints. So I brainstormed some other options for other plants I could use in other containers. Then I evaluated my brainstorming during my plan. These were my constraints. I didn't have enough soda bottles, and since I live in a city apartment, I didn't have grass and not a lot of time. So here's my decision matrix with my plant choices at the top and my container choices on the bottom, which helped me figure out that I was going with the Kalanchoe plant and the milk carton for my design setup. And these are my materials. You can see I've already cut the milk cartons, and they have this spout here, which would be great. I ran into some math difficulties while I was creating. I didn't have a nice diameter here going across the water bottle that I cut to collect the water, so it's a little bit of math there. I had to test to make sure that the water collection cup would actually catch the water, so I tested for that, and while I was doing that, I discovered that it would be best if the milk carton was tilted up so that all the water would drain out nicely. So that came into play later. I put in soil, and then for each of the 3 milk cartons, I wanted to make sure that the soil was the same weight. So that's me weighing. And then I had to go with some, and to continue with that, I knew that I was going to have to weigh the plant separately so that the soils could all be the same. But I ran into an issue with the first plant that I had chosen. It wasn't going to fit in the milk carton, so I went with the succulents. So this is me then weighing that plant and being able to fit the succulents into the milk carton. Then this is me finishing up my setup, and there are some things I had to modify and improve. This is my loose leaf one in the middle here, and that's me putting the spinach in as well. And then I use these little bean bags to tilt up the back of the milk carton. And then this is me playing around with testing, improving where the water collection cup goes and how it's attached to the milk carton. Then I did my final test. I started out with not a lot of water being poured into each one, so I went back and poured much more water into each one. So you can see that the soil-only version has the water already coming out, and then here is the mulch and spinach. And then over here, way on the left, if you look closely, you can see the succulents coming out. And I'm holding white behind to show that the cleanest and the least amount of water is coming out of the succulents. And just so you know that that's true, this is 10 minutes later, and you can see the least is here, and the cleanest and the least amount is the succulents on the left. So these are the academic standards that I thought were most applicable, in particular under grade 10 of the PA Environment and Ecology Standards, show how vegetation affects water runoff. I also, since we explored wetlands, I included this as well. And what STEM practices did we use? I felt that we used quite a bit. I asked my own questions and defined my own problems, even though the main ones were provided. I had to develop these models. I carried out my own investigation. I definitely applied some mathematics. I obtained and communicated my own information. I used a little bit of technological tools, including the online simulation, the digital scale, and then the tools that I used, like my X-Acto knife to do the cutting. Then some math was used. I think geometry came into play a little bit, and the abstract precision that I used, and I definitely had to persevere for this one. So I think a lot of these actually applied, and here are my references. Thank you.